Hey.
Are you unmuted? Yay, they're unmuted.
I'm unmuted.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
How are you?
We're doing good.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Well, thank you guys for being on here tonight. Here, take this. It's not working.
Oh, we're honored.
Awesome.
Well,
Okay.
let us introduce you real quick.
Did you mute everybody out?
I think so.
I don't think you did. Hold on just a second. I might have to mute everybody again.
Okay.
One person.
Yeah, there's somebody unmuted because there's a lot of background noise. Okay, mute all. Continue. Unmute. Oops.
All right. That should be
All right, now you're unmuted. Okay, here we go. All right, guys, welcome to our Thursday night team call. We're super, super excited that Jeremy and Rachel Williamson and Ambassador Diamond were able to get on here tonight with us. I'm telling you what, these two inspire my socks off in so many ways. Not only do they love the Lord and build their businesses with integrity, but they just have hearts of gold. And they've been very dear friends to Chad and I. And I'm super, super excited to have them on here tonight just to hear their story. Okay, so let's go ahead and bring them on.
All right.
Hi.
Hey.
We're excited to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, Chad and Jaree are two of our very favorite people. In fact, we're considering
We love
canceling
them.
and re-enrolling under them if that's possible.
Oh.
I don't know. No, it's so hard to get to Ambassador. I don't know if we've got what it's
Oh, it's easy peasy.
Right?
Well, thank you guys so much for taking time out of your night to get on here. We just want to start off by you guys maybe just sharing your story for a few minutes.
We're struggling. We're like
trying to figure out how to do this.
squeezed up in our bedrooms.
All right, we're ready.
Yeah, that looks good. So how did you guys end up here? I mean, 5 years ago, you hadn't heard of It Works yet, had you?
That's right.
Right.
What happened?
I had heard of it from a friend through social media. On Facebook. And so really I was just trying to figure out what this thing was because I kept seeing her post stuff about the greens and then I saw her being wrapped and I was like, what is this? I don't even understand. Like no before and after photos or anything like that, but just seeing her wrapped and stuff. And so I was like, I don't know what this is, but this is weird and I'll just cheer her on. And then of course, because I'm liking everything and I'm like, oh, just happy for her. Then she messages me, tells me about it. And I'm like, oh, Jeremy, this could be a really great opportunity for us. Like we should do this. And then Jeremy was like, no way. This is network marketing. They don't work. You don't make any money. It's a scam. You can't do this. And so I was like, okay. And then she asked me again. I was like, I really think I should do this. And he was like, no. So then my sister joined It Works. And so he didn't really have a choice. He knew when it's Melissa, my sister, I only have one sibling. So there was really no choice after that. And that was the end of it. So I joined and jumped in, and I just knew that this was going to be the opportunity that would help bring us freedom financially, and we'd just start on a new path to help pay the bills, really.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would just add kind of my take on that. We have always been dreamers, and we've always, we're crazy enough to believe that we could change the world, and we believe that our whole lives. And so we've always been a little bit of free spirits with that because we're like, man, we're going to do what's in our hearts to do, even if it doesn't make sense to other people, even if it's not necessarily logical, I guess, to some people. We're just going to do what we know we have to do with our lives. And so we were out here in Colorado doing that. I mean, we were starting a church. It was crazy. We didn't even know anybody in this town. And we had big ministry dreams. And we were like sinking really quickly into debt and just trying to keep our head above water. We were on food stamps, but I was working at like a call center at 40 hours a week and, talking to people all around the world on the phone and then trying to start a church at the same time. And then we actually got kicked off of food stamps because I got a 50-cent raise. And so it's crazy, but our family was just really suffering. And And so this came along as really for us, not only like this amazing adventure in itself, but also as a vehicle for us to continue to pursue all the other crazy dreams that we have. So yeah, it's been really amazing.
So when you guys got going then, how long did it take you to kind of figure the business out? I mean, did you guys, what did your first month look like in the business?
Well, I mean, it was really just me. Jeremy still didn't believe in anything at this point. So, I mean, he was just like, oh my gosh, what is she doing? And he was really worried about people judging me. So if you guys are people in, positions or situations that you're worried about people judging you, that was my husband. With us being in ministry and stuff, he was like, oh my gosh, people are going to, judge you and you should not do this. This is going to be, he was super skeptical. And he knows that. We talk about it all the time and just joke about how, much this business has changed our life. But, he was definitely a skeptical husband, gave me a really hard time about it and could not figure out or wrap his brain around what in the world I was doing. But I was then, at home all day while he's working all day and then putting extra hours beyond hours in a ministry. So I'm like sitting here with 3 kids at home and I'm like, all right, strategizing. How do I do this? Like, what's the best route? And I know like a lot of times I'd just send messages on Facebook, just so excited. I would avoid posting because, he was worried about that. And, it'd slip out from time to time. But really, I was just spending a lot of time in my messenger, spending like relational building, calling people, texting people, like sending messages to people and spending that time just building my relationships. If I was at the gym working out, I'd build relationships with moms. I was building relationships at the park. When I would go to Chick-fil-A, I'd build relationships there. And I would just always adding people on Facebook and then sending them messages and being really good at follow-up. The first month, I think it was like $500 or $700, but a lot of it was just cash, selling wraps and all that stuff. And honestly, I mean, I really think that there's so much power in your excitement. And like, if you're not necessarily like a social media builder, you can totally do this outside of social media, which is how, I was very effective outside of social media and also like I used them as a marriage for sure. Like I would meet people and plug them in, and continue building relationships. But I've always just been a relationship builder and I've tried to build this entire business through getting to know people. Because I really felt like, I've always felt like quality could really build quantity over time. So if you can give yourself quality time with people, that would actually build a good quantity of business, because then you have trust and buy-in with people that you maybe didn't have before. So anyways, that was really how I started building the business. And then Jeremy started seeing the money come in. So he was like, oh, this is real. And I'm like, yeah. And,
so that's what brought you on board? You started seeing the comma in the check?
It took him like 6 months. Okay. And like I hit double diamond at 6 months. And then he was like, oh my gosh, that's huge. Like that's bigger paycheck than I've ever gotten. And I was like, yay.
Well, I had saved up for like a year and a half to take her to Italy. And I lied about how big our tax return was and like saved some of that money. And so we're in Italy and she gets an email or somehow we figured out that she, I told her it was right. The taxes were fair. We didn't lie on our taxes. The return was like, less than it actually was because I wanted to surprise her with this trip to Italy. So anyways, we're somewhere in Italy and I see that she'd gone Emerald. And I was like, wait, how much is that a month?
No, Executive.
No, it was Emerald. I was like, wait, how much is that a month? And she's like, yeah, it's like $500 or $600. And I freaked out. I was like, wait, there might be something to this. Do you think maybe someday you could make it to like that diamond thing? And that's when it kind of started happening. But then when she went diamond and she got the $10,000 good bonus, I remember being on the phone with my dad in tears, being like, man, I think I was going to sign him up as a loyal customer to help us just cross that finish line into diamond. And I tell him, Dad, we're about to get $10,000. And it really changed our life because at that time I felt in a lot of ways as a failure as a husband because she, we had kids, she was pregnant, or had we just had Levi?
No, Levi was like 1.
Yeah, so we had 3 little kids, and she was driving this ghetto mobile. It was like this old Mercury Mountaineer, and it like leaned back on one side because one of the struts was broken, and so she would like go down the road like a gangster, right? Like all leaned back, and then every now and then the windshield wipers would just randomly start going, and we couldn't get them to stop on a sunny day, and there was nothing I could do about it. We didn't have a penny in the bank, and so it was so emotional to me when so quickly she went diamond. And then I think from that point on, I was kind of all in, dreaming big dreams with Rachel.
Yeah, that was a $10,000 good bonus I got.
We got a new minivan, yo.
Yes. Yeah, and so I really started dreaming. I mean, I really didn't believe that there was anything beyond diamond. I kind of thought diamond was like the top. I just ignored those other numbers because for us, I mean, we've never made more than like $20,000 a year. Not kidding. So for us, like even looking at numbers beyond like 2,000 a month just looked impossible, you know? And so I just dreamed small, honestly. And I know that people say dream big, but I was dreaming I remember for some of my first goals was a laptop, a dog and a car. And that's really, I just wanted to buy groceries. Like I wanted to be able to buy groceries without having to coupon everything and use like not have the food stamp money that we did have. And I was able to check off every single one of those. Now we have a dog. He's a really beautiful white German Shepherd.
Does anybody need a dog, by the way? Because
he just celebrated 4 years. He was 4 years old, which is kind of symbolic of this business because I've been in it for more than 4.5 years now. And you know, there's just been so many things. Like I upgraded from like a regular laptop to like a MacBook Air, all those things. And went from like our first dream car to like an upgrade of my next dream car. So we've even been able to dream beyond those simple dreams that we had at the beginning. But those were really what drove me, and they were really practical for me. And, you know, I'm just really grateful because they were little stretches that I was like, I know I can do this. Like, I don't know if I don't even know if I believe that presidential and ambassador diamond is real, but I can believe that diamond is real. And I can believe that double diamond is real. I can believe, well, I don't really believe in triple diamond either. So I'll just go for that, you know? And then once I hit that, I was like, dude, there is more. Like, this is only the beginning. And I could dream for more and more and more. And I was able to grow my dreams to a place where I was like, okay, I can retire Jeremy. Like, from his 9-to-5 job so then he could be a full-time pastor, you know, and be fully supported by what I'm doing while I have 3 kids at home. So then I went for that. And at 1 year, I hit triple diamond into the business. And I was motivated because I wanted to free him up because we moved to Colorado. We gave up everything. We struggled. We did everything for this call on our life to start a church. And so I sacrificed everything, and nobody quite understood what I was doing. Didn't she start, like, isn't she a pastor's wife? Like, didn't she move out there to start a church? Like, what is she doing? But they didn't understand that my vision, God put this in my life so that I could fully support him in doing it. So we were both called. We're both called, and we're both equipped to do what we're called to do in order to make, you know, the church happen here in Colorado. And so it was like we were able to teamwork, you know, so I was able to free him up and he was able to go full time as a pastor. I was busy working this business, raising these kids up. And, you know, and it went from triple diamond at a year. Just a few months later, I went presidential, and I was at presidential for a good while. But then my second year into the business, I went ambassador. And I mean, I give all the credit to God because I knew that I was doing what he called me to do in order to free him up. But I also worked hard, and he helped give me strategies, and he gave me a lot of wisdom to be able to build the business. And so hopefully we'll be able to give some of you guys those strategies and wisdom so that you can also build your business and do it locally as well.
So what would you say, you guys, what would you say would be the turning point? Like, when did you realize that you were like all in, that It Works became a part of you? Like, what sealed the deal for you to really partner with the company and run with it?
Going to conference, for sure. Going to conference. I wasn't even going to go. I was at double diamond, and I still, like, I didn't even have a t-shirt until I was diamond, you know, like I was skeptical myself, like, and I was working the business, you know, and I don't know if any of, like, anybody has been there or is there, but I was skeptical. So I refused to buy a shirt. I was like, not getting into this. Then I went to a conference and I heard Cindy Pentecost speak. And I heard her say that she was so excited that all of us were there and that she was praying for every single one of us and that we all had a divine purpose of being there, and that she went through and prayed over every single chair. And I looked out in the crowd and I saw every single chair, and it was like thousands upon thousands upon thousands. And the fact that she walked through and touched every single prayer and prayed over that chair, it just like, it opened my eyes to see like this was a company that I could be dedicated to, that I could have, like they have integrity and I have integrity. And so I'm in the right arena, because like God's going to bless a business like,
and I want to add something to that too, because I think for me, it took me a little bit to get on board, but once I did, and it was maybe around that diamond time, Rachel and I had some, I think, really crucial conversations. And, we decided that we're not going to wait to feel the right thing. We're not going to, trying to think of how to word this the right way. Basically, we just made a decision early on. We're in this for at least 5 years. We're going to fight for this thing for 5 years, period. We're not going to wait until we feel good about it. We're not going to, because I think too many people do that. I think a lot of people are guilty of, hey, I'm going to dabble in something here for just a couple of minutes. And then as soon as I'm not feeling it, like, peace. But I think for us, we made a decision pretty early on. We know that nothing good, nothing exceptional comes overnight, and nothing exceptional comes easy. And so we made a decision, and we talked about it from the time around when she was diamond, like, hey, this is a 5-year gig for us starting right now, at least 5 years. We're not going to give up before then. And I wish more people would make that kind of a commitment. And that was just to see like, honestly. Yeah, like a comma in the paycheck, and like even a 5-figure paycheck, like a $10,000 paycheck. That wasn't even, that was just to see that. And we were committed to that, and then beyond that, we're like, well, we'll see what else, we can accomplish through it. But God has a plan, and his plan doesn't always line up with like what our idea or time frame is. And so like I've learned a lot over the last 4.5 years of doing this business is that his timing looks different than our timing. So we can't always just put a timeline on like what our success looks like, because he's growing you and shaping you into the leader that you are called to be. And in order to pour all of that leadership and all of that wisdom and just everything that like he places in your hand to do this business, it's quite amazing. I mean, it really makes you a remarkable human being, I think. Like being a part of this business makes you it stretches you, whether you're at distributor, executive, whether you've ever promoted or not, like you're being shaped and pulled and grown, like you're growing into the person that you're created to be. And so every step of the way is vital. Yep. So learn from it, absorb like a sponge. And, from that, you're going to just get to see so much, and you'll be able to look back and be like, gosh, I'm so glad that like the timeline looks the way that it ended up looking, because I'm so much better of a person because of it. Yep. So just because it took me, a year to go from distributor to executive, I learned so much. And like, it's good that it took me that long to figure out like who I am and what I'm becoming in order to be the leader that I'm created to be. Yeah, I think I love that. And can I expand? Are we taking off in the wrong direction? Are we still good?
No, I just kind of want you to run with whatever you feel like.
I'm feeling what she's saying, because I say this to people all the time. Like I'm working with a guy right now who's right on the edge of getting a divorce. Right, they're starting to work on paperwork, and it totally breaks my heart. What I've been saying to this guy is, listen, okay, here you are, and so be there. Like don't try to fast forward to the next thing. Don't try to avoid the pain. Like don't try to avoid the process. Like here you are right now. And if you're in the valley of the shadow of death, then be fully there, because it's where you are. And so I think when you're committing to a business like this, you're committing to the whole process. Like the weakest thing I think someone can do in coming into this business is saying, hey, I'm going to dabble in it. And if I don't get to ambassador where I want to be, if it's not the experience that like this all joy pop experience that I'm hoping for, then I'm going to walk away from it. Like the beauty of this is that it's going to bust you in the head sometimes, and it's going to make you a better person, and it's going to stretch you. And if you're executive, be fully executive and live it up and be the best executive you can be. And yeah, your eyes on Ruby. Of course it is, because you're building and growing. But once you hit Ruby, man, you're just like owning Ruby, and you're the greatest Ruby in the company. And then you move on. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole process, because this is more important than the paycheck, the whole process is going to change your life. And so I think what we need to do is just be fully present where we are right now. And of course we're pressing on toward the goal, but we're not trying to fast forward and getting frustrated that we're not already where we wish we were. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question real quick. I think this will help everybody. So, you're kind of alluding to this earlier that nothing worthwhile, nothing exceptional is going to come easy, and it's definitely a challenge to succeed in anything in life. And so there's that D word that nobody really likes, but that's necessary, that discipline word. So, with discipline, we know disciplines can turn into our habits, and that's what ultimately is going to get us there. So for you guys, at the end of the day, what are like 3 to 5 things that if you've done that during the day, that's a good day and that you're on the right track? Could you kind of share maybe 3 to 5 things that you guys just try and do every day that's business specific that is helping you grow individually and helping your team grow? And just
So I like to focus on just a few things, because for me, less is more. Because I know that all of us have busy lives. Probably a lot of you work full time. We're full-time ministry. So even that requires a lot of time. And so being able to work through your day and have time management will definitely help you. But one thing that I feel like I used a lot, especially growing through this business, every day my kids had a schedule. I love that we have social media because we could help each other. Like when I started this, nobody taught me anything. We didn't have Zooms. We didn't have Facebook Lives. I was on some random double diamond team page, and I wasn't that was the page I was on and nothing else. I didn't know what upline, I literally was thrown in and had no clue what I was doing. So for me, learning to be very disciplined on posting, and being really creative. So he actually helped me because he didn't want me to post before and after photos. He didn't want me to post look salesy and all this stuff because I'm a pastor's wife. But it actually ended up working because I had to be creative with how I was selling things. And honestly, that ended up helping me sell more because I was being creative. And some people can do that and it works for them. They can just put it out there. But for me, I knew that I had to work in a way that was creative. So using a creative mind every day, working outside of the box is really important. Number 2 is building relationships. So it was getting myself and my kids out of the house. It was deciding to go do things. It was going to the mall and making purposeful relationships. It was getting to the park. It was having picnics at the park. It was literally getting to Chick-fil-A and just sitting there and purposely making relationships with moms. And I was always uncomfortable because we really get comfortable in our own little privacy places. We don't work we lived in Africa for a while. And in Africa, it takes a village to raise a child. They use that. And even here they use that. When you're in a village, you live with everybody. They don't have their own little privacy fences and their own little lives. Americans are very much into their own little lives, and they don't even need to know their neighbors. Do you know every single neighbor that surrounds you and behind you? Do you even know them, or have you met them one time and you don't know their name? You know what I mean? So being purposeful for us as Americans to build relationships is difficult. It's out of our comfort zone, but it's what will build your business. And so I had to get to a place where every day I would challenge myself to get outside of the box and do things I was uncomfortable doing. Then it was posting, it was getting uncomfortable. It was sending messages every single day. So for me, it was looking through my friends list and just being gosh, I haven't connected, writing purposeful messages. So I was never a big blitzer online, you guys. I really built organically, and then I built relationally. I would send 4 to 5 messages a day. That's the honest truth. I would write them a letter. And I would just be hey, Susie, I have not talked to you in forever. I was I've been enjoying Colorado. How are you doing? I keep thinking about you. And I don't know if you've seen a single, anything that I've been up to, but you keep circling around in my mind, and I just have to write you and let you know about what I've been doing. And I just really would love to do this with you. And it'd be so much fun to connect again. So a lot of times on social media, I'm a much more yellow person, even though I may be more red in person. I'm a lot more yellow on social media. And you can see that even in like on my Facebook page. But anyways, I just built meaningful relationships, and I would write those letters every single day, and I'd be diligent. Sometimes I'd do 4 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon, but I would write them, and I would write new names down. And so we have like a little calendar on our fridge. I'm not super green, so I'm like super unorganized.
A calendar on the fridge for us is like,
that's heaven.
Holy cow, we have a calendar on the fridge.
But I would write down, like Jeremy,
yeah,
like I would write down, there's so many people and they would just come to my mind. And I was like, okay, this is somebody that God wants me to reach out to then. So I would write their name down. And so that name, there'd always be 4 names, like almost every day, and I just cross them off. I'd write down names, and I'd be like, I need to talk to this person, this person, this person. And then sometimes I'd be like, well, they're on my chicken list, so I'd like avoid writing them. But then eventually I would get to them. I'd be like, I got to write them. And they would end up signing, and they would be my best people. Maybe they took more work, but they would be my best, like, business builders in this business. And so anyways, I think too, like just being able to stretch yourself and be bold and get uncomfortable, write people every single day. That was a discipline. I mean, it was a discipline to do that, but I would lay my kids down for naps, and instead of watching TV, I would do that. Like I literally have not watched TV. I like never watched TV in the last 4.5 years. I used to watch TV all the time. Food Network, I loved, a big foodie. And God ended up blessing me in another way for that. I ended up being on a TV show. It was really fun. It gets to air next year. That came out of the blue, and it came through. It works, really. I mean, they found me because of what I was doing on social media. But I gave up all of that stuff to be very disciplined in what I would do. And then the other thing I would be disciplined in doing, which is going to be really uncomfortable for you guys, is that I would go and blitz salons, especially at the beginning. And this is a part that I really, really want to share with you. So make sure that you listen up. This is going to be huge for your guys' business. We're going into the fall right now, and people are interested in cozying up and being inside, right? They're not always outside because we're headed towards winter. What if you went into salons? This is what I do. Okay, so like what I'm pitching to you is what I did, like especially the first 2 years of this business, getting to ambassador. I'd go into a salon, and I'd be like, hey, like I would just dress up. I wouldn't wear at work stuff. I'd just dress up. I'd put my heels on and look nice and trendy. And I would just be like, hey, is the owner in? And if she was, or the manager, I'd be like, hey, I was just wondering if there was any way that we could partner together and have like a ladies' night for the city. Like, I love our city. I would love to partner with you. I have some products that I would love to highlight or bring, like this body wrap. It firms, tightens, and tones. And I would even be happy if there's a, like, something that you guys give to, like a charity. I would love to give a proceed or what I earn to your charity. But really, I'm just looking to bring and network women and bring the community together. Would you like to partner with me and do a ladies' night? And you guys maybe could do like a special deal, and I'll do a deal, and then we can give to your charity. So like you're literally empowering the salon, but you're getting a benefit from it. And here's why you're getting a benefit. Number one, you're making a lot of wrap cash. You're wrapping people. This is where I get red. Okay, so you come in yellow, but then you've got your red intentions. But you're going to make a lot of wrap cash. You're going to make a lot of relationships. Like I would walk out of salons making $300 to $600 in cash. So I wrapped it to people. I saw a lot of people. I had results on my phone instantly. And not only that, I was building relationships, plugging them into Facebook, and also setting up new wrap parties. So all these people I didn't know, I'm setting up wrap parties with. And I could bring maybe one of my distributors, new distributors with me, to that wrap party and start building a new team member's business. So there's all sorts of strategies. And that's what I was saying, like pray for wisdom, ask God for help. That was one of the things that I really felt like God put in my heart, and I went and did it, and it worked. I did it a lot of times, and you guys, it built my business big, and it built it fast. And then I built relationships with those salon owners, and they let me do it again. And we did repeats of this. And then they let us have wrap parties at their salon. And so I could get into spas and salons by doing that. And I'd have weekly wrap parties at spas and salons because I had built a relationship with the owners. And then some of those owners ended up signing with me too. So, I mean, it's like a triple fold blessing. Like, it's not even just there's wrap cash. I mean, I just listed a whole bunch of reasons why it can work, but you have to muster up the strength to just go do it. You know, there'd be times where I'd be like, drop me off, you know, or pick me up. Like, I have a meeting with this one, or watch the kids for me. And I'm going to go do this on Sunday afternoons because I can't afford a babysitter, you know, and Sundays are slow in salons. So these are just ideas for you. I mean, you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone, but it will really bless you. And I know it'll turn around. And sometimes I got turned away completely. And, but other times, you guys, it just worked so well that it was huge. So anyways, I hope that that's maybe something new that you haven't heard, or a great tip maybe that will inspire you for this fall and winter season, because this is the time to get into those places. They're looking for ways. It's slowing down for them too. So they're looking for ways also to reach out into the community and pull people in.
Yeah. Can I add something?
Yeah.
I think those are all amazing ideas. And I mean, Rachel deserves all the credit for building this business. But I think one discipline that we have even in ministry. Well, let me just say this first, the better way to put it. Rachel, I think a lot of the reason that she had so much success in signing people is because her whole life up until now, she's been an encourager. She's always been the kind of person that adds value to other people. And so she had this enormous circle of friends. As soon as she started with It Works, there were a lot of people that loved her and trusted her and would buy into what she was doing because she added value to people her whole life. And that's her personality. And there's some of you that are watching this, and that's just not you. Like, maybe you're introverted, or like you're super red and you're just not a high encouraging person, or maybe you're green and introverted or whatever. That's totally fine. That's why it's a discipline. You know, you may sell wraps just by having the discipline of sending out a message every single day to someone in your friends list that has nothing to do with It Works, nothing to do with the business, just blessing them, just being like, oh my gosh, I just want you to know that I think you're amazing. Or, hey, I had this memory of back when we were in high school, and I appreciate you as a friend. And you're not trying to sell them anything. All you're doing is asking yourself every single day, if it's not natural for you, you might have to write this on your mirror. How can I add value to somebody's life today? Because people, at the end of the day, they're going to buy something from you because they believe in you and they love you and they support you. And so I think having the discipline to making sure that you're somebody who's adding value to people's lives every day is going to change the way people feel about you, which means it's going to change the way they feel about your business. So that's my 2 cents.
Oh, I love that. That is so good, because you have to do take into account sometimes people that come in the business and build really fast, they do have a little bit more influence with their network. And so other people have to work a little bit harder. But what I love about this business is that you have to grow and you have to operate outside of your comfort zone so much. And Chad and I always say that if we would just go back 5.5 years ago when we first found It Works, and if we knew that we weren't going to make any money in 5.5 years, but we were going to become the people we are today, I would go back and I would do it, even if we made nothing.
That's
we made
so good.
nothing, I would do it because of who we are, because of what we've gone through to become successful in this business. So I love, that's what I love about this. And that's what I love that you guys were telling everyone to embrace where they are, because God has them in a place specifically so that he can grow them into the leader that he's called them to be. So,
yeah. And it's not like you're pleased and want to stay there forever, but you're just conscious, like, this is my present reality and there's a reason why I'm here. So this is where I am and I'm moving forward, but I'm conscious of the fact I'm here. So, yeah.
So let's kind of sit there for just a few minutes. So what are some, let's say someone's kind of been stuck. Maybe they've been in the business for a year, or maybe they feel like they haven't changed over the last 5 years.
Or they've hit a rank and they've lost it. Yeah,
or they're discouraged and maybe they're second guessing, themselves, their decision. What would you recommend things that they can do to just kind of break through those barriers, get through those some of those self-imposed limitations,
feelings of unworthiness?
Yeah, what can people do to get through that?
I think for sure, get to events, get to conference, get to One Team, One Missions, surround yourself with like-minded people.
Yes.
if you connected with somebody that you really, really enjoyed in this business, maybe a sideline sister or brother, and you really liked them when you first started and now they've quit, or they're always, negative or whatever, maybe you need to cut yourself away from them, distance yourself from them to like connect with people who have like minds and like hearts to be able to go after the things that you're going after, and then also just being diligent to plug in your steps to success every month and focusing on that. I mean, sometimes people just make too big of goals and then they fail every month. And so they hate that they're failing. And so then they just draw back and they don't want to do anything. So it's better to make a goal that is realistic for you. So maybe you don't ever sign in distributors. So maybe for you, you need to say, I'm going to sign one distributor this month. I'm going to make that happen. It's been 4 months. This month, I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to go to Chick-fil-A. I'm going to go to parks. I'm going to go to the gyms. Yep. Like, I'm going to just build one relationship with one person and make that work. Or I'm going to try to build a handful of new relationships. And, like when you've been in it as long as we have, 4.5 years, that network he was talking about, it's gone. Okay. So like, I have to continue to build new relationships in order to be successful with this business. And so it's always important to just put it's all in your mindset, really. And I mean, I think that your mindset really impacts you. One time I did a really cool thing in a one team, one mission, and it would be way better if I was like in person with you guys. But the power of the tongue and how it can control, like how much it can affect you, and the power of your mind. And I might be able to send this to them later, this snowflake thing, but like, and you can also do it like in person, like if you've got somebody living with you right now, have them do this and you can test it on them and you'll see. But I'll do this double fold. But one, if you say, I am strong, and you say it 5 times or 10 times, it's 10 times. Say, I am strong, I am strong, I am strong, I am strong. And you have your arm up in the air like this, and you have someone try to push it down because you said, I am strong 10 times. They're going to have a hard time pushing your arm down because you're going to have strength in your resistance. But if you say, I am weak, I am weak, I am weak, and you say it out loud 10 times, try this on, if you've got a hubby at home or like a really strong guy, brother, whatever, try this on them. Say, I am strong 10 times. They have to say it out loud. And then try to push their arm down. Be like, I'm going to try to push your arm down and don't let me. Then try to do it. And then have them say, I am weak 10 times. It works every single time. I am weak, I am weak, I am weak. And then tell them, I'm going to try to push your arm down. Don't let me. You literally will be able to push their arm all the way down. So the things that you confess, the words that you say, the words that you speak over yourself every single day literally have the power to affect everything that you do. So if you're weak, and you pronounce it over yourself like, I'm not worthy, I'm weak, I'm not pretty, I can't do this, I'm not smart enough, I'm not a good leader, you're literally speaking those things into you, and that's what's going to come out. But if you will speak life over yourself, I am strong, I can do this, I am a good leader, I am, a good enroller, like I can sign 3 distributors this month, like I can do this, don't over like goal yourself, but like speak reality into it. I am strong. I can do this. I am smart enough. Then you will actually start to feel strength come within. But you will be surprised at how quickly, I dare you to just tally how many positive and negative thoughts you have over yourself in one day. Mm-hmm. Give yourself 24 hours, and then you have to pay attention, because you would not believe how often you speak against yourself in 24 hours time, like how often negatively you're impacting your own life. So believe in yourself. Like, it starts with you, and it doesn't matter. Like, nobody else can define your success for you. Like, you may have had parents that spoke down to your whole life, and so your worth feels low. But you can't believe that. You have to reject that. And you have to say, I know who God says I am. And I am lovely. I am worthy. I can do it. I am smart. I am a leader. I am successful. I am Ruby. I am Diamond. And start preaching those things to yourself. And by doing that, that's where your strength is going to grow. It's almost like a seed that's planted inside of your heart, and you're watering it every time you say something positive over yourself. But every time that you put like negative light on that, it just like, bleh, you know what I mean? So give life to yourself. And when it starts there, it doesn't matter if your spouse at the beginning doesn't believe in you or not, like, because you believe in it, you know, and when you believe in it, it will grow. It will grow.
I think, but with that too, I totally agree with what she's saying. But there's a part of me that believes that every single person that's on the Zoom right now, you're here because you want to believe those things about yourselves. Like you're in this and you're trying to make yourself better. And there are some of you that are trying as hard as you can to visualize yourselves as that eagle, right? That's just soaring and doing great things. And you're trying to speak that stuff over yourself. But the deal is you have people surrounding you that are bottom dwellers. And I just got to be honest, like Rachel and I have said adios to some really what we thought were important friendships, but you guys, they were bottom dwellers. All they did was complain. All they did was gossip. They couldn't handle success. They were bottom dwellers. They were the people that got drunk and just talked bad about their spouse. They were the people that just gossiped all the time. They're the people that they're going to work at Taco Bell for the rest of their life. That's who they are. I want to challenge some of you guys. If you want to be able to jump in and what she's saying and believe in yourself and speak life over yourself, you need to walk away. And if it's a family member, then maybe you just minimize the time you spend with them. Mm-hmm. If it's your spouse, and go to counseling. But I'm saying you need to get away from the negative voices that are pulling you down and say goodbye to some friends. Choose a new group of people to hang out with. It is not just a cute saying. When people tell you, show me your closest friends and I'll show you who you are or who you're becoming, that is absolutely the truth. And you're not the exception, friend. Like you think, oh yeah, that's not, I hang out with some people who are just kind of losers or whatever. Or maybe you love them too much and you haven't been able to admit that they're bottom dwellers. Okay, you just got to get real. Like they're bottom dwellers. Mm-hmm. And if you're going to be who you think you're called to be, like you got to move on and start hanging out with some eagles, and then you'll become an eagle. So that's my little addition to Rachel's.
Yeah, and I'm looking, like in a minute, I'll send it to Jaree so that they can post it on your team page. But there was a scientist. I'll get the story for you. But there was a scientist who actually did this with snowflakes. You remember this? The pictures of the snowflakes.
Oh yeah, the
power of words. Like he spoke life over certain snowflakes, and then he spoke death over others. Like you're ugly. You're not worth it, and like those snowflakes actually ended up deformed, and they never formed the beautiful, like when you look under a snowflake under a microscope, everyone is so particular and different and like beautiful. And the ones that were spoken life over were like beautiful and perfect and amazing. And these other snowflakes like didn't even form as snowflakes. They were deformed and they didn't work. And so the scientist was just proving the fact that the power of words. So I'll look that up and send it to her so you guys can actually see, like, it makes a big impact on like how you're viewing yourself. And so like your worth like has a lot to do with how you speak to yourself. Yep. And it's something that you daily have to put into check. And so I would say that's another discipline that every day you have to speak life over yourself, because it's so easy to fall into the trap of speaking down on yourself, not believing in yourself, not believing in the business, not believing that you can do it. And so like you have to work in the opposite manner and speak life. And it takes a lot of work and a lot of time, but eventually you'll become a very self-believing person in like what you're called to do. And if God's called you to do it, then nothing can stop you. It doesn't matter who gets in your way or who is affecting your life. Nothing will stop you when you know that God's called you to this and you believe in yourself.
Can I add one more little thing to what your question? So your question was like, if you're in a funk, if you're kind of stuck, like what can you do? And I think, we said, believe in yourself, surround yourself with the right friends, just take action, just do those steps to success. I think one thing too that can sometimes just shake you up a little bit psychologically, sometimes your whole life needs just a kick in the face. And so I think, you just need a big shake up, right? And so I would encourage you to do something big that's even maybe unrelated to it works, but something that really challenges you, like jump on the keto diet or go do like a Spartan race or something, or train for a marathon or like, you know what I'm saying? Do something really hard. The most successful people, you're talking about the people that are running these billion, gazillion dollar companies, they do hard stuff all the time. And that's, talking about working out. they challenge themselves in sports and in other hobbies. And so like maybe you need to go do something really crazy and sign up for one of those Spartan races or something. Just do something that's going to totally shake you out of, because you're in a rut. And it's not just your business is in a rut, your whole stinking life is in a rut. And so you need to like really do something that's going to shake yourself up in a bigger way than just steps to success. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I love that. I love that disruption.
And speaking of shaking yourself up, okay, because I really want to touch on this before people start jumping off. Okay, so you guys, Jeremy and Rachel just wrote this phenomenal book called Jesse's Song that I had the privilege and the honor of reading before it even hit the shelves. Like, it was such an honor that you let me do that. And oh my gosh, you guys, all of you know that I have a really hard, I have a learning disability, like legit, cannot comprehend things when I read. When I started reading this, I couldn't stop reading it, and I retained everything. Matter of fact, as I was reading the pages of this book, they literally were coming alive in my mind. Like I could see, as if it was playing it as a movie. I could see vividly. I could see colors. I could see so many things. God was just fully moving in this book, and so I just wanted to, can you guys just share a little bit about this book? Because this isn't an It Works thing. This isn't something that's necessarily going to teach you business strategies, you guys. But there's so many people that are hurting in the world right now that have been victims of sexual abuse like myself. And so I would just like, if you guys don't mind, let them share for a few minutes about their book that just came out, because I think it's life-changing.
Well, this book, it's called Jesse's Song, but it is dedicated to the 1 in 4, because 1 in 4 people have been abused in their life before the age of 18. That is a huge statistic. I mean, that should break all of our hearts. And I know that I'm even speaking to people who are victims of abuse, looking at like a large crowd. A lot of times, like the pain that comes with abuse, you know, we're strong. People are strong, and they tend to take it in, but they feel like I feel like overall voices have been silenced over the subject. That there's been a silence, and it's almost like even families haven't believed you, or the people around you haven't believed you, and it's more like, oh, just hush hush, you know, like that person can't find out that person did that. Like, let's just sweep it under the rug, you know. And really, Jesse's Song is dedicated to the 1 in 4, because we feel like we wanted to turn the light on a subject. God stirred this in our hearts. It's totally from him, but that we needed to turn a light on a subject that has been avoided from our culture. And it's time to just turn it on. And we launched it on Sunday. Jesse's Song was launched on Sunday. And that same day, which I just believe is total confirmation from God, the hashtag #MeToo went viral. It's not a coincidence, because we've been writing this book for 1 year and 7 months. And Jeremy's the one who wrote it. I didn't write it. And I'm going to let him share a little bit more. But that's kind of just a little bit of a background for you guys to understand. Like, I know Me Too is really important. I love that people are starting to come out and share and turn the light on the subject. But your heart is really important to God, and like going beyond the Me Too and just saying it is one thing, but also like allowing yourself to receive healing, allowing yourself to feel loved, and have something spoken over you that's truth, that you may have questioned and asked for a long time. And so the book goes to those places. They ask those questions. So I'm going to let Jeremy talk, but because he's the one who wrote it. So there's a lot of heart and soul in this, but that's just more of like, for me and like our journey through this together, what it's been.
Yeah. So, you know, Jesse's Song was based, it's inspired by my mom's story, actually. My mom was horrifically abused. In fact, the first half of the book is pretty close to verbatim, different locations and names and stuff, but it's really close to what happened to my mom. And I remember from an early age really sensing a lot of that she was always unsure of herself. She always felt like she was stupid. My mom always walked around and acted like she was worthless and carried herself like that. And I remember as I got old enough to kind of hear and understand the story, you know, her dad came in and tried to molest her one night. And it turns out he'd been raping her sisters, and now it was her turn. And she refused him, and he looked at her and he said, "Arlene, you're nothing but a damn piece of meat. And I just want you to know no one is ever going to love you. You're worthless. And so you might as well let me do this." And so my mom has lived most of her life, believing that about herself and identity. And I just want to look at my mom, and I want to look at you. And I think we all, those of us who haven't been abused, need to be able to look at the people around us and say, "Are you kidding me? Like, you are precious. Like, the King of Kings took so much joy in knitting you together in your mother's womb, and his thoughts about you are endless, and they're all good. And you have no idea how he has been with you your whole life, and how much he delights over you, and he sings songs over you, and he has a plan for you, and he can't stop thinking about you." And I just think that's a strategy of the devil, because he can't, children of God, like, he can't hurt us. He can't steal the fact that we're children of the King. All he can do is convince us that we're not. All he can do is get us to believe that we're weak and stupid and worthless and cheap and dirty. And if we can believe those things about ourselves, then he wins. And so our deep down passion in this is to help all kinds of people who've been abused and not, to be able to stand up and really begin to believe what God believes about them, and to begin to take hold of their true identity as beloved children of God. And so, man, that's really the impetus behind the whole thing, is just, I'm sick and tired of seeing wounded and insecure and hurting people that don't even know that healing and freedom is available. So,
and also know too that you are not alone, that you never were. And I think the way that this book was crafted really was from heaven above. And I really think it's a heart song and cry from God, so that that the abuse that you felt growing up, whether it was sexual, physical, verbal, or mental, that he has been with you, and that his heart aches for the pain that you're carrying, and that he does want to take it and heal you in ways that you and we can never heal ourselves. We'll never be able to heal ourselves the way that something from heaven. It's almost a miraculous sort of thing. So we pray that this book would be able to reach hearts, and that in some ways that you'll receive a kiss from heaven, a healing in your heart that never thought could be touched or healed, and you maybe didn't even realize existed, but that I just know that God loves people so much, and that his heart is for you, no matter what you've been through, and that he sees you. And that goes for everyone. The statistic is 1 in 4, whether you're a male or female. That's a high statistic, and that should break our hearts. And so, ultimately our hearts are to help bring healing to this world. And we want to do that in whatever way we can. So if God sees this business to help us expand his love, then we're honored that, he would. So anyways, just know that your worth is so valuable, and that when you begin to understand your worth, and you're such a treasure and a gem, that I know that even learning those things and receiving them and actually believing them instead of rejecting them will actually empower you to be an amazing mom or dad, amazing friend, amazing just person within. It'll help you be an amazing business person, as you do this business. And so I know that ultimately the root of Jesse's song is going to bring a lot of healing to people and empower them to be the people that they were created to be, to go after the things that they were created for.
Yeah.
Wow. I just love how, first of all, I thank you guys for just walking out your calling and doing everything you're supposed to do.
And for Jeremy, for you being bold enough to share your mom's story, like, that's not an easy thing to do. And I'm just so thankful. The book touched me. Obviously, I'm a mess every time I start thinking about it. And it's not that. It's that the book literally has brought so much healing. And I thought that I had a deep measure of healing, and I did, but there were still more things in there. And as I was reading, God was just kind of showing me along. I mean, my abuse wasn't near as bad as what your mom went through, but we should never downplay the abuse that we've had, because abuse is abuse at the end of the day. And so I applaud you. And I know you don't take the credit. I know that God, you give God all the credit, but man, it takes guts to do what you guys have done. And I understand the measure of warfare that comes along with committing to something like this, and just really, really honored to be your friends. And I'm really proud of you.
Thank you. That means a lot.
I want to thank you guys just for really unpacking. You know, it's funny that you went there, because in our men's group, the verse we've been studying is Proverbs 18:21. There's power of life and death in the tongue. And this, you guys kind of broke that down into specifics. And when you were talking about the snowflakes, Rachel, I was thinking about how you hear so many stories about people that go into the hospital in a life-threatening situation, and the ones that have the right, the ones that are speaking life over themselves are the ones that walk out, whereas some people just kind of throw their arms in the air and give up and just submit to death. And they literally speak that over themselves and they die. And I've seen that happen so often. And so thanks for unpacking that and just taking it even to another step. With a way that, you know, tangible, a book that people can read to have a measure of healing and just point them in the right direction.
Is this book downloadable? Can you get it in the Audible version yet?
We're working on
Audible. You can get it as a Kindle.
We need a voice. We need a female voice.
Why can't you use yours? You have a good voice.
We need a female voice, to somebody
who
somebody who's trained to be able to read through a book like this. You know, the Audible people, those are actual actors who are paid to do that, and that costs a lot. But we need God to just put somebody in our life who can do it well, that we could put it out there, because we've definitely had a lot of requests. So
she just said she could do it. Denise can do it.
She's an actor.
There you go.
Awesome.
Message us.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to like go into any more tips or anything, but if you guys have any anything that you feel like God wants you to share, and then maybe if you guys don't mind, would you close us out in prayer?
For sure.
We would love to. You know, I just don't take any moment for granted. There's so many moments where God puts a person in your life because you're doing this business to bring them into this business. So don't miss the opportunities. Don't look up, you know, like when you're at the grocery store and you're checking out, look at the cashier. You know, when you're shopping around Target, look around. When you're sitting at those restaurants, look at the waitress. Don't pass moments by, because God could be giving them to you. You're praying for those rock stars. You're praying for those people to join your business that will just take it to a whole nother level. Don't pass by the moments that God's giving you. So he's giving you opportunity. And I think a lot of times we turn the other way because we just can't believe that that could actually be happening. And it is. So don't take those moments for granted.
It's good. All right. Well, no, I don't think so, but I'd love to pray.
Thank you.
Yes. And I'll just add before he prays, there is hope. You're not too far gone. Like, you believe that there is hope for you and that you can do this. Okay.
Yeah.
It is very possible for you to go from the rags to the riches. We are that story. We went from rags to riches. And you can too. So know that your life is so important, and that the way that you are put together, just like Jeremy said, you were knit together in your mother's womb. You were knit together for a divine purpose on this planet. You were not just thrown out there.
It's true.
You have purpose. And if nobody has ever spoken over that truth over to you, then take it from me right now, that there is hope and that there is life to the fullest and abundance. If you've never even experienced it until now, you can and you will. So start believing and trusting in God in that way. And if you're not even at a place where you can, like, I don't even know what she's talking about, then just get to a place where you're like, okay, God, whatever she's saying, give me that. I want whatever she's talking about. The God that she's serving, I want that God. Like, you give that to me, Lord, you know, and he will meet you there, and he will show you the truth, and that truth will set you free in your mind and in your heart. And that is incredible. So anyways, I just had to throw that in there before he prays. Okay, go ahead.
Awesome. All right. Yeah, let's pray, guys. God, first off, I saw somebody requested that we pray for Nick. Lord, I just lift him up, God, wherever he's at, Lord, deployed. God, I just pray for courage in his heart. Lord, I pray that you would be so near to him, God, that your goodness and your comfort, God, would just be close. I pray that you'd give him wisdom. I pray for favor, God, with the people that are under him and the people that are above him in the military. God, would you just open up the right doors? I pray in Jesus' name. And God, I ask, Lord, actually, I admit, Lord, for every single one of us, God, before I even ask, I just want to confess something, God. And I say this on behalf of all of us here. Lord, we have been guilty of settling in on the wrong side of the Jordan River. In other words, you've called us over the river into this promised land, but God, we've gotten really comfortable in some dumpy places when you've called us to something so much greater. God, you've created us for lives that were so much bigger and so much more influential and so much more world-changing than what we're living right now. But we get comfortable with debt. We get comfortable with living mediocre lives. We get comfortable with laziness. We get comfortable, God, with poverty even. And God, I'm so sorry, because I know that that's not what you called us to. I know that is so much less than what you created us for. And so, God, I just pray, Lord, for almost an affliction of discomfort in every single one of us, myself included. God, help us to be fed up with our current circumstances. Help us to get fed up with our debt. God, to get fed up with where we are right now, and to be completely uncomfortable, God, and to where we would have just the drive and impetus to keep moving forward into the promised land, into what you've called us to be and do, whether it's in business or in relationships and life. I pray for just a holy discontent to take root in every single one of our hearts, that the laziness and the complacency would just go, and that you would help us to have just the energy and the eye of the tiger that we need to go after and to work for what you've called us to, God. And so, Lord, thank you for Chad and Jaree. God, thanks for the bright light that they shine in this business. God, it's I don't think anybody can say enough about what Chad has done among the men of It Works, and also just the incredible example and the light and the joy that Jaree is among all of us. So God, I pray special blessing over them and this team, Lord, in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Amen. Oh my gosh. We just love you guys so much. Thank you for being last minute. I feel like this was totally God, that the last person that was supposed to be on fell through. You guys were able to make it. And oh my gosh, I am seriously just, gosh, I just love you guys.
If no one else got anything out of this, I did.
I know, I'm filled up. I needed this. So,
Great.
I feel like we just had church, you guys.
Oh, we love you guys. Thank you guys for taking time with us on your Thursday night to build your business.
You guys have an amazing night.
You too.